कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांता स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरा भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद जय गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुर्वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमस्ते तप्त काञ्चना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Okay, Hare Krishna. Welcome, dear devotees, to our regular Srimad Bhagavad Gita session. Today we are starting the 16th chapter, the divine and demonic qualities, and today we will be covering from verse number 1 to verse number 4. So the verse number 1 has 3 shlokas together and a very long purport, so we'll have quite many devotees who will read it through. That is one part of it. So now if we see how the flow of Bhagavad Gita is happening, we know we are in the last 6 chapters, where it is mainly emphasized on Gnana Yoga, finally leading to Bhakti Yoga. So we in the last 6 we have some 13, 14, 15 which we have covered, and today we are on the 16th chapter. So 13th chapter was mainly focused on Kshetra, the body, Kshetragna, the soul and the super soul. What is Gnanam? Gnanam, the knowledge of the soul, super soul and the body, and Name, the object of the knowledge, object of knowledge. Yeah, and then we have what did you have? Kshetra, Kshetragna, Gnanam, Nayam, the Prakriti and Purusha. Purusha, the supreme personality of Godhead. Prakriti, the material nature. So elaborately, Krishna explains that. And in the 13th chapter, we understood the process of gaining the real knowledge that we understood, and the qualities of a person who has that knowledge. That also we understood in the 13th chapter. Then we came to the 14th chapter, and in the 14th chapter, Krishna very specifically says that the 14th chapter mainly speaks about the modes of material nature. That is what we are being influenced by, based on our different people have been influenced by the modes of material nature and their combinations in different degrees, and accordingly we work. Accordingly is our workings in this material nature. So it is very important for us to understand that where we stand, what is that mode of material nature I am being influenced more on. And so when we are doing our different activities and interactions and workings in this material world, we really need to know where, what is, what am I being predominantly influenced by, and consciously we need to move ahead. In the sense, if we are more in the mode of ignorance, we need to try to move ahead in the mode of passion and mode of goodness. And all these three are, we understood that they are still under the material realm, and beyond that is the gunatita stage, the transcendental realm, the person who is beyond the three modes of material nature. So he's a gunatita. And how does what are his behaviors, characteristics, all those things in detail in the 14th chapter we have learned. And when it came to the 15th chapter, the connection is what is the connection is, in the 14th chapter we understand the modes of material nature, and in the 15th chapter we need to understand that in order to go back to spiritual world, in order to serve the Supreme Lord, and in order to go back to our original state and position and in original place from where we have come back, so we need to cut off the attachments from this material world. So that representation is given by the inverted banyan tree. And we understood that how the banyan tree, its reflection can be seen only near a water body. So if there is no water body, then there is no question of existence of the banyan tree. Similarly, the water body or the represents our desires. So it is due to our desires that today we are in this material world, and we continue to exist here because of our desires only. The ones we do not have desires or any attachments for this material world, that time, that means there is no water body. That time there is no material life for us, and we are eternally with the Supreme Lord. And then it is more detailed how the banyan tree represents, what are its branches, what are its leaves and twigs and fruits, and how the different species in different planets are also represented by this banyan tree. That is one thing. And then Krishna explains how to break down this banyan tree. And then Krishna explains that he describes the spiritual world to us, because when we have been told that you have to cut with the acts of detachment, the desires for living in this material world, then if we know where, if we cut here, where we will go, so then the interest and looking forward is more. So Krishna describes the spiritual world, how the sun and the moon are his eyes, and it does not require any light, and there is no birth, old age, death and disease, and it is always fresh, ever glowing, ever blissful. So in detail he explains the spiritual world. So this way he finishes then once who go back to that kind of a spiritual, there is no question for him to return back into this material world. So then in this particular chapter, specifically for the demonic, divine and demon qualities, What is exactly it is? I'll just share my screen. Divine and demonic qualities, I think. Name this chapter. The divine and the demonic natures. Okay. So today we will read through this. And here Krishna explains that first three verses he explains the divine qualities. So if we see in the 13th chapter, he has explained the qualities of a person who acquired the gnanam, who knows about the soul, super soul, and the body. Those qualities. And then in the 14th chapter, he explains about the qualities of the person who is a gunatita. And then in the second chapter, he has explained the qualities of a person who is Sthitadhira Muni. All these qualities are almost the same: honesty, truthfulness, equanimity, tolerance, pridelessness. These are the qualities. So there are actually 26 in number. There are 26 in number, and the first three shlokas, those 26 qualities of a person who is in divine nature has been explained, and a very long corporate Krishna Prabhupada has given highlighting on every quality. So we will read through it. That will take some 20-30 minutes today, and then we have just one more shloka to finish. So Krishnamurti Prabhuji, you can read the shloka.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Abhayam sattva samshuddhihi jnana yoga vyavastitihi.
No, which you are reading? Yeah, correct. Sorry. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Okay, yeah, sorry.
Sorry Mataji. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Abhayam sattva samshuddhi jnana yoga vyavastitihi danam damascha yajnascha swadhyayastapa arjavam. Shall I continue Mataji?
Yes.
अहिंसा सत्यम क्रोधः त्यागः शान्तिरपैशुनम् दया भूतेषु लोलुप्तम् मार्द्रवम् हीरचापलम् तेज क्षमा धृतिः शौचम् अद्रोहो नातिमानिता भवन्ति सम्पदम् दैवीम् अभिजातस्य भारत.
Yeah, you read the translation also.
Translation by A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Prabhupada ke jai. The Supreme Personality of God said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion of fault finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for our these for honor. These transcendental qualities, oh son, a little bit scroll, Mataji, little bit.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Freedom from envy and from the passion of honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belonging to godly men endowed with divine nature.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So these are the 26 qualities actually. These are 20 actually we have a book written by I think Satsurup Das Goswami specifically on these 26 qualities, like elaborately he has explained each quality with lot of examples like that. But here Prabhupada has also given a very quite long purport on this. Basically these as we were already discussing, these qualities are qualities of a divine personality who is endowed predominantly by the mode of goodness. And when we are most of the time or predominantly in the mode of goodness, there is a very high chance to go to the transcendental state. That is Sometimes when we are mixed with the other modes also, but during some festivals or during some kirtan or something, suddenly we have that a bliss moment. But sometimes we feel that we are out of this world. So that time what happens is we just go to the transcendental level and come back to our regular modes, like that it is told. Similarly, one who is predominantly most of time situated in the mode of goodness, and how does that happen? By consciously imbibing these qualities. When we are conscious that when we get angry, we understand that these qualities Krishna does not like. If we are proud, we understand that these qualities Krishna does not like. We are not violent towards others externally or in the conscious level also. We are not duplicitous. We want to really be simple. We follow the program of Trunadapi Sunichana. That is no looking for hankering for name, fame, and free from no envy and free from passion. So these consciously we will be hit by these qualities now and then. And if we are conscious that yes, this is what I want to consciously practice, then most of the time we are in the place of goodness, and there is very high chance we transcend the mode of goodness also in quite many times. So basically what happens is when we are just conscious and trying hard to somehow practice these qualities, Krishna is very pleased. In the process, Krishna is pleased. And when Krishna is pleased, then whatever baggage we have, whatever still we have been, uh, we are pushed down by the lower modes, Krishna takes care. Krishna takes care, and he makes sure that we are situated in the mode of goodness, because that is consciously want to be. So it is not that I am, see, this is my nature, so what can I do? No, I want to do the other way. I want to do something that pleases Krishna, that pleases the spiritual master, that gives happiness to the devotees. So when we do it, then Krishna is happy. Okay, we will read the purport now. Sindhu Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Text is which one, Mataji? 1 second.
16, 1, 2, 3 purport.
1 to 3 purport. Yes, Mataji. Haribol, translation and purport by
Not translation, only purport.
Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, purport only I'm reading. Text 1 to 3. In the beginning of the 15th chapter, the banyan tree of this material world was explained. The extra roots coming out of it were compared to the activities of the living entities, some auspicious, some inauspicious. In the 9th chapter also, the devas or godly and the asuras, the ungodly or demons, were explained. Now, according to Vedic rites, activities in the mode of goodness are considered auspicious for progress on the path of liberation, and such activities are known as Daivi Prakriti, transcendental by nature. Those who are situated in the transcendental nature make progress on the path of liberation. For those who are acting in the modes of passion and ignorance, on the other hand, there is no possibility of liberation. Either they will have to remain in this material world as human beings, or they will descend among the species of animals or even lower life forms. In the 16th chapter, the Lord explains both the transcendental nature and its attendant qualities, and the demoniac nature and its qualities. He also explains the advantages and disadvantages of these qualities. Should I continue, Mataji?
No, we'll take a break now. So here what happens is very nicely Krishna. See, now Krishna is such a compassionate father. Time and again, he is trying to give us the knowledge about what are the activities and the qualities and activities of a person who is more situated in the mode of goodness. And he has already given the knowledge about what is mode of goodness, and he has already told that what is how we need to transcend. All this knowledge is already given, and time and again he is saying what are the activities, what are the consciousness, what is the actions, how a person should be situated himself in the mode of goodness, so that we can practice it. So there is no shortcut to the whole process. When we are in the mode of goodness, there is high chance for us to go to elevated to the transcendental mode. That is understood. But if we are remain in the mode of passion and ignorance, there is no shortcut that, okay, you remain in passion and then you will go back to transcendental mode. That cannot happen. That will not happen. So if we are in the mode of passion and ignorance, if we accumulate some good karma during this process, being passionate and ignorant, being passionate and remaining in ignorance, then there is chance that we may come back to a human form of life. But there are very likely chances that we may we may be born in the lower species of life also. So that is what Krishna is telling here, Prabhupada is telling here specifically. So we will move on, and other things actually we have already spoken, I think, what was already discussed. Okay, we'll move on. Sudha Mataji, next paragraph.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam.
Thanks.
The word Abhijatasya in reference to one born of transcendental qualities or godly tendencies is very significant. To beget a child in a godly atmosphere is known in the Vedic scriptures as Garbhadana Samskara. If the parents want a child in the godly qualities, they should follow the 10 principles recommended for the social life of the human being. In Bhagavad Gita, we have studied also before that sex life for begetting a good child is Krishna himself. Sex life is not condemned provided the process is used in Krishna consciousness. Those who are in Krishna consciousness at least should not beget children like cats and dogs, but should beget them so that they may become Krishna conscious after birth. That should be the advantage of children born of a father and mother absorbed in Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, so here one specific thing Prabhupada has introduced is about Garbhadhana Samskara. In 2 minutes we can also talk, because Prabhupada has mentioned here, every parent, those who are not at all connected with Krishna consciousness, that's a different thing altogether. But those who are connected, who have got the knowledge of Krishna consciousness, they really want that their children should be Krishna conscious. Like that, it happens over a period of time because they feel that this process is very nice and we did not have it from childhood. Whatever it is, the parents have a big role to play. If they yet to get children, they have a big role to play, that the process of Garbhadana Samskara is to be followed. Now in ISKCON out, there are places where this has been very highly recommended, and there are people who are guiding also. So the point is, by birth, if we attract such souls who are mostly in the mode of goodness, by this process, it attracts the right souls. And so it becomes very easy to train that child in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, if the parents are very much in the mode of passion and ignorance, and they procreate and they get a child, it's very high chances that the child will have much of demonic natures rather than divine natures. That is what Prabhupada is telling in this place. Okay, next one, Subbarao Prabhuji. You're not there? Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
Shall I read from in the Varnashrama?
The social institution known as.
Which line, Mataji?
The third paragraph, social
okay.
institution.
The social institution known as Varnashrama Dharma, the institution dividing society into 4 divisions of social life and 4 occupational divisions or castes, is not meant to divide human society according to birth. Such divisions are in terms of educational qualifications. They are to keep the society in a state of peace and prosperity. The qualities mentioned herein are explained as transcendental qualities meant for making a person progress in spiritual understanding so that he can get liberated from the material world.
Yeah. So here Prabhupada is talking about Varnashrama Dharma. So we know we have the 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra are the 4 Varnas, and Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyas. These are the 4 Ashramas. So the society, when it is divided like this, the idea is based on one particular psychophysical nature, he fits into a particular ashrama or fits into a particular varna. So idea of segregating like this is so that in whichever ashrama you are, so the activities which are meant for that particular ashrama or a particular varna will be conducive for you to grow from that position to a further position. There is no question of person who has a very means a Shudra kind of a mentality. That is to say, more in the mode of ignorance, and based on considering as a caste system and putting him in a Brahmanical place, then he'll not be able to perform effectively because he is being dominated by the mode of ignorance, whereas his activities are supposed to be in the mode of goodness. So the whole system, the Varnashrama system, is divided in such a way that it matches with the psychophysical nature and or psychophysical nature, so that the activities recommended for that Varna and Ashrama are conducive for you to grow from that point to a higher position. So that is that way it brings peace and prosperity, because everybody is working according to their nature, and from wherever they are, they have an opportunity to grow from that position. It is not meant to put down anybody or feel low about any particular ashram or any particular varna. So that is what Prabhupada is telling here. Padma Mataji can continue. Padma Mataji.
Yeah, Mataji, sorry, I was on mute. In the Varnashram institution, the sannyasi or the person in the renounced order of life is considered to be the head or the lost it. Or the spiritual master of all the social status and orders. A Brahmana is considered to be the spiritual master of the three other sections of a society, namely the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the Shudras. But a sannyasi who is on the top of the institution is considered to be the spiritual master of the Brahmanas also. For a sannyasi, the first qualification should be fearlessness, because a sannyasi has to be alone without any support or guarantee of support. He has simply to depend on the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one thinks, after I leave my connections, who will protect me? He should not accept the renounced order of life. One must be fully convinced that Krishna, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his localized aspect as Paramatma, is always within. And he is seeing everything, and he always knows that what one intends to do. One must thus have firm conviction that Krishna as Paramatma will take care of a soul surrendered to him. I shall never be alone, one should think. Even if I live in the darkest regions of a forest, I shall be accompanied by Krishna, and he will give me all protection. That conviction is called abhayam, fearlessness. This state of mind is necessary for a person in the renounced order of life. Shall I continue, Mataji?
So here, specifically about sannyasi is telling. See, now the topmost ashrama is sannyasa ashrama. So one particular quality Prabhupada is mentioning about fearlessness, wherein the sannyasi knows that I am always alone. I have cut from my regular life, and there is no question of any more dependencies. And the Lord within my heart, he is firmly fixed with the understanding the Lord is within my heart and is always there. He's always there as a guide. He's always there to protect me. He's always there to hear from me. So these kind of qualities one has to develop very strongly in order to be in that particular ashrama. That is what Prabhupada is trying to tell. But actually in small ways also, we most of us situated in the Grahastha ashram also, it is very helpful for us if we have such qualities like fearlessness, because in Grahastha ashram mostly the dependence on each other is there. That is okay, because if we are dependent on each other and if we can support each other and we can all grow together, that's best. But nonetheless, it is very important to know that if somebody is there in my life or is not there, the Paramatma in my heart is always there. So this kind of understanding, if we have, then it helps one to be in a very normal mental state of mind. Only because if the emotional state or the mental state is very peaceful, then whichever ashrama or whichever varna he is in, from there he can practice his Krishna consciousness very nicely. It is not that fearlessness is only for the sannyasi. It is very much required for grahasthas also, in order to perform better in his grahastha life. Yes, next one, Pramila Nambiar Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna, thank you.
Those who finished, put your hand down.
Then he has to purify his existence. There are so many rules and regulations to be followed in the renounced order of the life. Most important of all, a sannyasi is strictly forbidden to have any intimate relationship with a woman. He is even forbidden to talk with a woman in a secluded place. Lord Chaitanya was an ideal sannyasi, and when he was at Puri, his feminine devotees could not even come near to offer their respects. They were advised to bow down from a distant place. This is not a sign of hatred for women as a class, but it is a stricture imposed on the sannyasi not to have any close connections with women. One has to follow the rules and regulations of a particular status of society, status of life, in order to purify his existence. For a sannyasi, intimate relations with a woman and possession of wealth for sense gratification are strictly forbidden. The ideal sannyasi was Lord Chaitanya himself, and we can learn from his life that he was very strict in all regards to women. Although he is considered to be the most liberal incarnation of Godhead, accepting the most fallen conditioned souls, he strictly followed the rules and regulations of the sannyasa order of life in connection with association with women. One of his personal associates, namely Chota Haridas, was associated with Lord Chaitanya along with his other confidential personal associates. But somehow or the other, this Chota Haridas looked lustily on a young woman, and Lord Chaitanya was so strict that he at once rejected him from the society of his personal associates. Lord Chaitanya said, for a sannyasi or anyone who is aspiring to get out of the clutches of material nature and trying to elevate himself to the spiritual nature and go back to home, back to Godhead, for him looking toward material possessions and women for sense gratifications, not even enjoying them, but just looking toward them with such a propensity, is so condemned that he had better commit suicide before experiencing such illicit desires. So these are the processes for purification. Hare Krishna, Mataji, thank you.
Yeah, here Prabhupada elaborates on the sannyasa aspect only, and he gives specifically the example of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, came as a devotee in this world as a Yuga avatar, and we know how he followed the strict sannyas rules during his lifetime. And women were not even allowed to be around him. That way, if we see now things have changed, and although the principles remain the same, that no thoughts of sense gratification or anything wrong propensities towards women by the sannyasis. Still, Prabhupada was so accommodative in the sense that he gave that space and that situation where his women disciples also felt the love, affection, and the care of Srila Prabhupada towards them. They had that feeling. So he was so accommodative, although keeping the principles as strict as Lord Chaitanya himself. But time, place, and circumstances, he accommodated the women disciples also, and he gave initiations to women disciples also, and they were allowed to perform pujari service also. So many things Prabhupada gave based on the situations, the time, in the time we were in and place where he was. So otherwise, we see how Lord Chaitanya was very strict. So that way, Prabhupada elaborates on the point that how Varna and Ashramas are required in the society to maintain peace and tranquility, and to maintain the kind of means it is required. We cannot just live like cats and dogs in the society. In society, there should be some rules. There should be someone to look up at. There should be some rules that are to be followed. Otherwise, cats and dogs, they don't have any restrictions. They can mix with anybody, anytime, with in front of anyone. There is nothing called as people are looking at us, nothing like that. So we as human beings, who have an opportunity to go back to the spiritual world also, to that level, if we have an opportunity, then we need to make use of that opportunity and try to grow ourselves in from wherever we are. For that, we need to have certain rules and regulations that are there, so that by following them, we can get the best. Otherwise, we will remain as cats and dogs, like that. That's what Prabhupada is trying to establish. Now, Kishori Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The next item is Gnana Yoga, Vyavasthitit Being engaged in the cultivation of knowledge. Sannyasi life is meant for distributing knowledge to the householders and others who have forgotten their real life of spiritual advancement. A sannyasi is supposed to beg from door to door for his livelihood, but this does not mean that he is a beggar. Humility is also one of the qualification of a transcendental situation person, and out of seer humility, the sannyasi got from door to door, not exactly for the purpose of begging, but to see the householder and awaken them to Krishna consciousness. This is the duty of sannyasi. If he is actually advanced and so ordered by his spiritual master, he should preach Krishna consciousness with logic and understanding. And if one is not so advanced, he should not accept the renounced order of life. But even if one has accepted the renounced order of life without sufficient knowledge, he should engage himself full in hearing from a bona fide spiritual master to cultivate knowledge. Mm, A sannyasi or one is the renounced order of life must be situated in fearless sattva, samashuddhi, purity, and gnana yoga knowledge. Hare Krishna
Here
Mataji.
he says that the qualities like fearlessness, purity, knowledge, although it can be used by others also, but it is prominently the qualities of a sannyasi. And he's telling that those who have, if they do not have, see now the sannyasi is supposed to have the right knowledge. If he does not have, he need to first of all is if we do not have the right, we are not placed properly, we have not yet grown fully, then we should not take the renounced order of life. Just in case we have taken renounced order of life also, we need to cultivate knowledge then also. That is what, because we need to maintain the highest purity, highest fearlessness. Now, to maintain purity of fearlessness, first we need to have proper knowledge. And for that, we need to study. So these are the things. So for what Prabhupada is telling is, certain qualities match with certain, very strongly with certain varnas or ashramas, like that. So we have the example of Shukadev Goswami in the first kind of the Srimad Bhagavatam. In the glorification of Shukadev Goswami, it is told that how Shukadev Goswami used to visit householders, and he used to wait only till the time that they were sometime so that they can milk the cow, and one glass of milk they can offer to Shukadev Goswami, like that. He used to go to the houses of the householders and wait only for the time till they can milk the cow and give one cup of milk, like that, something. The point is, the householders, the sannyasis visit the householders mainly to purify their existence, because if the sannyasi is very pure and the householder gives with love and kindness, offers something to their sannyasi, that way their spiritual life elevates, the grahastha's spiritual life elevates. So sannyasis, in order to help others, they go to door to apparently beg, get alms, like that. It's not that they want to beg so that they can fill their belly. It's not like that. Idea is to elevate the householders, like that, and to give them knowledge. That is Shukadeva Goswami's example. Purport Prabhupada says that the householder will offer something, and the sannyasi will give some knowledge, so that the householder will accept that knowledge and they can internally grow. So that is the reason why sannyasis beg alms, or that is the reason why when we are grahastha also, we need to donate, we need to do charity. Next one is charity, it is told. We need to donate, we need to do charity, because we need to purify our existence, one thing. And second is, we should develop the quality of being detached. Otherwise, householders are always attached. This is mine, this is mine, this is mine, this is everything is mine only. This cupboard is also mine, this pen is also, everything is mine. Money is mine, every rupee is mine only. Maybe it is yours, but if we develop the quality of charity, quality of giving, then what happens is, our existence gets purified and we can elevate ourselves in spiritual consciousness. Secondly, we need to consciously develop the thought of detachment, because at death we are otherwise also pulled away from all our things. whatever we hold it very sacred to ourselves, that okay, this is mine, this book is mine, this table is mine, everything is mine. If I'm holding it very sacred to my close to my heart, when I'm dying, I need to leave them and go. And if we have very strong attachment, then that soul is still attracted very strongly to those material things, and it becomes very hard. So the next life we will go, will be born somewhere around on this, so that that attachment is very strong. So to develop, consciously develop the sense of detachment, we need to develop the sense of detachment, so that that way we can grow. So for that, charity is important, something very dear to us, but we still give it away. And that way, internally, we have developed the sense of detachment. Okay, next one, somebody raise your hand.
Ma'am, can I read, ma'am?
Who is Bharati madam?
Bharati.
Yes, yes. Who is chanting there? Please mute.
Oh, sorry.
Yes,
Charity.
the next item is charity.
Yeah, the next item is charity. Charity is meant for the householders. The householders should earn a livelihood by an honorable means and spend 50% of their income to propagate Krishna consciousness all over the world. Thus, the householder should give a charity to institutional societies that are engaged in that way. Charity should be given to the right receiver. There are different kinds of charity, as will be explained later on. Charity in the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Charity is the mode of goodness, is recommended by the scriptures. But charity in the modes of passion and ignorance is not recommended, because it is simply a waste of money. Charity should be given only to propagate Krishna consciousness all over the world. That is charity in the mode of goodness.
So on this charity, we have elaborate discussion in the 17th chapter we'll have, where it is told that what are the kind of charity, what is charity in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance, to whom should we give charity, what charity elevates us, what is charity, what is the consciousness of a person who is situated in the mode of goodness and who is giving charity, what is the consciousness of a person who is situated in passion and ignorance and he is giving charity. So this is very detailed explanation is there in the future chapter, and this is a very integral part of our practice as grahasthas. It's very important for us to adopt this quality of charity, but we should know to whom we are giving charity. Like Prabhupada is telling, to those institutional societies which propagate Krishna consciousness, we need to give, because we know it will be used for the right purpose. Sindhu Mataji.
Hari Bol Mataji. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Then, as far as Dhamma, self-control is concerned, it is not only meant for other orders of religious society, but it's especially meant for the householder. Although he has a wife, a householder should not use his senses for sex life unnecessarily. There are restrictions for the householders even in sex life, which should only be engaged in for the propagation of children. If he does not require children, he should not enjoy sex life with his wife. Modern society enjoys sex life with contraceptive methods or more abominable methods to avoid the responsibility of children. This is not in the transcendental quality, but it is demoniac. If anyone, even if he is a householder, wants to make progress in spiritual life, he must control his sex life and should not beget a child without the purpose of serving Krishna. If he is able to beget children who will be in Krishna consciousness, one can produce hundreds of children, but without this capacity, one should not indulge only for sense pleasure.
So here Prabhupada is telling about self-control. See, now in other ashramas, if you see sannyasi, brahmacharya ashram or vanapasta ashram, the desire, the chance or the propensity, the situation to get engaged in sense gratification, its chances are very less, because sannyasi and brahmacharis, they do not have anyone. Vanaprastha are quite old actually already. So it is in the grahastha, which is mostly between 25 to 55 years, in that period where the youth is more active and we have a family with us around. So the chances of irregular sense gratification is high. So that is something we need to consciously control, is what Srila Prabhupada is telling here. Next one, Sudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah.
Then as far as Dhamma self-control is concerned, it is
No,
not
sacrifice,
only...
no?
Oh, okay.
Sacrifice is another. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Hare Krishna. Sacrifice is another item to be performed by the householders because sacrifices require a large amount of money. Those in other orders of life, namely Brahmacharya, Vanaprasthas, and Sannyasa, have no money. They live by begging. So performance of different types of sacrifice is meant for the householders. They should perform Agnihotra sacrifices as enjoined in the Vedic literature. But such sacrifices at the present moment are very expensive and it is not possible for any householder to perform them. The best sacrifice recommended in this age is called Sankirtana Yajna. This Sankirtana Yajna, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is the best and most inexpensive sacrifice. Everyone can adopt it and derive benefit. So these three items, namely charity, sense control, and performance of sacrifice, are meant for the household. Thank you, Mataji.
So, yeah, so when it comes, these three specifically, householder, when it comes to fearlessness, that also householder need to develop. But these three are very specific for householders. That is what Prabhupada is telling. And we know in holiness, we know the Yudhishthir Maharaj, how we perform the Rajasvaya sacrifice, how we know Pratu Maharaj, how we perform the Ashwamedha sacrifice. So specifically, they are meant for the householders and very expensive, proper brahmanas, proper items, then many different kinds of sacrifices are there. And that time, that kind of brahmanas were also there. The khadya, the saman, the vastu, the ingredients that they use for the sacrifice were also pure. The means of acquiring those ingredients were also pure. So the results will also be beneficial and we'll get the right results. So of now in this time and situation, nothing is very pure. Even the regular substances are not pure. The people are not pure. So just for me, money's sake, some people do perform some sacrifice, but that will not be beneficial either to them or to us. We are simply sharing out some money and it is not useful for him or for us. So Prabhupada says for this time and age, we have the Sankirtana Yagna, which has absolutely no cost, but requires full consciousness. And with the right consciousness, we perform the Sankirtana Yagna, we can get the best results, much beyond what people used to get by regular sacrifices. Okay, next one who? Now Kishori Mataji, yes.
Okay, Mataji, Hare Krishna. Then Swadhyaya Vedic study is meant for Brahmacharya or students' life. Brahmacharis should have no connection with women. They should live a life of celibacy and engage the mind in the study of Vedic literature for cultivation of spiritual knowledge. This is called Swadhyaya. Tapas
So Swadhyaya means tapas. See, now we had a few qualities which are specifically for the sannyasis. Then Prabhupada mentioned some qualities which are specifically for the householders. Now, when it comes to Swadhyaya means regular study of the Vedic literatures, Vedic scriptures. So that is specific for the brahmacharis. That means because he is very young yet, and his brain is very active and very conducive for learning things, and he need to consciously study the scriptures, and that way he can grow. Because so generally who are in sannyasa, they are knowledge, because during their brahmacharya life, they have really consciously studied the scriptures, and that is required for him to know what is right, what is not right. Yes, Krishnamurti Prabhuji.
Krishna Mataji. Tapas or austerity is especially meant for the retired life. One should not remain a householder throughout his one second, Mataji. Okay. Throughout his whole life, he must always remember that there are 4 divisions of life: Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. So after Grihastha, householder life, one should retire. If one lives for 100 years, he should spend 25 years in student life, 25 years in householder life, 25 years in retired life, and 25 years in the renounced order of life. These are the regulations of the Vedic religious discipline. A man retired from household life must practice austerities of the body, mind and tongue. That is tapasya. The entire Varnashrama Dharma society is meant for tapasya. Without tapasya or austerity, no human being can get liberation. The theory that there is no need of austerity in life, that one can go to speculating and everything will be nice, is recommended neither in the Vedic literature nor in Bhagavad Gita. Such theories are manufactured by show-barter spiritualists who are trying to gather more followers. If there are restrictions, rules, and regulations, people will not come attracted. Therefore, those who want followers in the name of religion just to have a show only don't restrict the lives of the students nor their own lives. But that method is not approved by the Vedas. Hare Krishna
So
Mataji.
yeah, here Vanaprastha life is given. Specifically, Prabhupada told about sannyasis, then he told householders, brahmacharis, he told now he told Vanaprasthas. And see, now in the day, and previously Vanaprasthas means they used to go to the forest like that. And now that is not required, Prabhupada says. So we in the householder, being a householder after 50 or 55 years, one need to consciously quit from the regular activities of the householding life and focus more on spiritual aspects. Focus more on austerity, some kind of tapasya, some kind of charity. There will be so many situations where there is so much attachment to the child and children and the property which they have created, apparently created, and that so much of attachment is there. Consciously being detached from their understanding that they are not the rules, understanding that they have already spent most of their life now, and it's very short period they will be living, and there should not be consciously getting detached from whatever the property or whatever situations they are in at that moment of life. So these kind of tapasya are to be done for them to grow. There is no question of Prabhupada says, as Prabhupada says, there is no question of thinking that, okay, I'm living a very nice life. I don't go and harm anybody. I'm living a very goody life and Lord will take care of me. That will not happen. Lord will, it means karma will work. And if that depends on our plus and minus, whichever is higher, accordingly we'll get a next birth. So that is fixed. There is no question of going back to Godhead when we are thinking that, okay, Krishna will take care. I am good. I don't harm anybody, but I want to be a little comfortable. And yeah, this is my thing. I need. So point is, conscious effort is required. That is what Prabhupada is saying. Conscious effort is required for us to grow. Nothing will happen automatic. That is what Prabhupada is trying to tell. Yes, Padma Mataji. Now we are a little quick. We need to do.
Hare Krishna Mataji. As far as the Brahmanical quality of simplicity is concerned, not only should a particular order of life follow this principle, but every member, be he in the Brahmachari ashrama, Grahastha ashrama, Vanaprastha ashrama, or Sannyasa ashrama, one should be very simple and straightforward.
It means that we should not be duplicitous. We should not be duplicitous. We need to be straightforward, simple. Simple means things as they are. Means not covering up, not being a hypocrite. That is what, and that is required by all the ashramas. That is what Prabhupada is saying. Next, Ambika Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Ahimsa means not arresting the progressive life of any living entity. One should not think that since the spirit spark is never killed, even after the killing of the body, there is no harm in killing animals for sense gratification. People are now addicted to eating animals. In spite of having an ample supply of grains, fruits, and milk, there is no necessity for animal killing. This injunction is for everyone. When there is no alternative, one may kill an animal, but it should be offered in sacrifice. At any rate, when there is an ample food supply for humanity, persons who are desiring to make advancement in spiritual realization should not commit violence to animals. Real ahimsa means not checking anyone's progressive life. The animals are also making progress in their evolutionary life by transmigrating from one category of animal life to another. If a particular animal is killed, then its progress is checked. If an animal is staying in a particular body for so many days or so many years and is untimely killed, then he has to come back in that form of life to complete the remaining days in order to be promoted to another species of life. So the progress should not be checked simply to satisfy one's palate. This is called ahimsa.
So very beautifully Prabhupada explains that so much deep knowledge is there in eating meat. So that we are actually harming somebody's progress. So then so much of impact will come to us. So that is what Prabhupada is saying, that we cannot take any small thing very lightly. And ahimsa also means that not not hurting anybody unnecessarily. In the sense, not even just beating or killing, not even making their life so miserable that that is himsa, not giving himself mentally also. That is also a himsa. Maybe Ambika Mataji can continue. Satyam.
Yes, Mataji. Satyam. This word means that one should not distort the truth for some personal interest. In Vedic literature, there are some difficult passages, but the meaning or the purpose should be learned from a bona fide spiritual master. I'll read after that, Mataji. Can you please scroll, Mataji?
That is the process.
Yeah. That is the process for understanding the Vedas. Shruti means that one should hear from the authority. One should not construe some interpretation for his personal interest. There are so many commentaries on Bhagavad Gita that misinterpret the original text. The real import of the word should be presented, and that should be learned from a bona fide spiritual master. Hare Krishna.
Satyam means that one should not distort the truth. Means there is something written in the scriptures, and if I say as it is, then it will I will get less benefit. So just twisting something, no, that is not allowed. That is not allowed. That is what Prabhupada is saying. Next one, Subbarao Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mata.
Yeah.
Akrodha. Akrodha means to check anger. Even if there is provocation, one should be if there is provocation, one should be tolerant, for one becomes angry, from the whole body becomes polluted. Anger is a product of mode of passion and lust. So one who is transcendentally situated should check himself from anger. Apaisnam means that one should not find fault with others or correct them unnecessarily. Of course, to call a thief is not fault finding, but to call an honest person a thief is very much offensive for one who is making advancement in spiritual life. Hari means one who should be very modest and must not perform some act which is abominable. Achapalam, determination, means that one should not be agitated or frustrated in some attempt. There may be failure in some attempt, but one should not be sorry for that. He should make progress with patience and determination.
So here, many things Prabhupada said. Main thing what we can discuss here is one is akrodha. We should not get angry. That is it. How anger spoils ones. That we have quite a good idea. Fault finding is Lord Chaitanya has told. If somebody can not find fault and constantly chant the holy names, if these two things are done, he can easily go back to God. Because fault finding is one is somebody has not stolen and we tell that he has stolen. That is one level. That's a gross level. More subtle kinds of fault finding is that, oh, see that she looks always this side. She does not look that side. Did you see she's doing like this? Anything somebody does, then we have an attitude of telling, so oh, they did like this. That is fault finding nature. Means anything anybody does, somebody if we don't like, we just find fault. So that is very detrimental for spiritual life. And determination, utsaha nishaya dhairya, this is the consciously progressing with determination. That is, if we today we have decided morning only we'll chant all the 16 rounds, then consciously, constantly with determination trying to progress. That is determination. That is what utsaha nishaya dhairya. That is Rupa Goswami's teaching. That determination is a very fundamental quality for a person who wants to grow in Krishna consciousness. That is very important. So then he said about modest, I must not perform act which is above. Yeah, sometimes you may, unfortunately, people end up performing some act which is completely abominable. So we should be very conscious. We should not do that. That is what Prabhupada is saying. Quickly, next 2-3 paragraphs will finish. Who wants to read? Subbarao Prabhuji will continue.
Yes, Mataji. The word tejas used here is meant for the Kshatriyas. The Kshatriyas should always be very strong to be able to give protection to the weak. They should not pose themselves as non-violent. If violence is required, they must exhibit it. But a person who is able to cut down his enemy may, under certain conditions, show forgiveness. He may excuse minor offenses.
Next, continue.
Saucham means cleanliness, not only in mind and body, but in one's dealings also. It is especially meant for the mercantile people who should not deal in black market. Nati manita, not expecting honor, applies to the Sudras, the worker class, which are considered according to Vedic injunctions to be the lowest of the four classes. They should not be puffed up with unnecessary prestige or honor and should remain in their own status. It is the duty of the Sudras to offer respect to the higher class for the upkeep of the social order. All these
Prabhupada
26...
here, Prabhupada here very nicely told about the different varnas, and he told different ashramas also, and how he told that for the kshatriyas what is the right thing to do, and for Vaishya, then how even during business, if he has to keep some profit, he cannot go way beyond and make in very short period large amount of money. He should not work that way. So everybody has in the Vedas is all accommodating. Everybody has been given a certain space for them to grow, but we should not misuse of the little independence that has been given. Now, Grahastha Ashram, a little space is given for him for sense gratification with his own wife, like that. So that cannot be misused and means unrestrictedly cannot be addicted to sense gratification. Similarly, Kshatriyas have something, even Vaishyas have something. So specifically, brahmacharyas and sannyas are more strict. Others have a little space, and in that space, they can always consciously grow. So Vedas is all accommodating, and if we are little conscious, whatever psychophysical nature we have, we can still grow. So all these 26 qualities mentioned are transcendental. They should be cultivated according to different status of social and occupation order. The purpose that is that even though material conditions are miserable, in whichever conditions we are, if these qualities are developed with practice by all classes of men, then gradually it is possible to rise to the highest form of transcendental realization. So what we will do is today we will stop here. Tomorrow I am only taking. So fourth one we will include tomorrow. Otherwise 1 to 4 we were supposed to complete today. 1 to 3 we have completed. Fourth one we will include in tomorrow's another 4 shlokas. We have from 5 to 9 I think. 4 also we will include tomorrow. Thank you very much. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mataji.
Mataji. Dandavat pranam.
Dandavat pranam.
Hare
Krishna.
Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam. Mataji, shall I end the session, Mataji?
Yes.
Okay, Mataji, thank you. Hare